overpayment or return of funds ledger sheet that I created for them that documents here's how much I'm repaying from this account from this program year. Here's how much I'm paying from this account from this program year. And the purpose of that is to make sure that when our claims team gets that check back from that vendor, because they might get a check back for like $25,000. And so our claims team needs to know what to do with that with those funds. How much of this is from program year 25? How much of this is from program year 24? How much of this is for real services versus Brightpoint versus co-action? So what's not helpful is, and this is what happens a lot, is when we receive a $25,000 check from NIPSCO with no context. And so we receive these checks sometimes and we literally have no idea what to do with them. We know that we have outstanding outstanding return of funds claims for this vendor, but we can't necessarily match that up with this. And so sometimes we have reached out to vendors and they're like, oh yeah, we paid on this check. And that's when we have to say, well, you need to let us know what this check actually is covering. So, okay. Cool. Stacy.
So my question was what Ingrid asked. I'm up tomorrow with HHS, so I really want to understand this. So I have a signed transmittal, a negative. I do my job. I get a draw key. I send it to fiscal. I'm done. And then the next step would be if someone had one that was outstanding, I would be contacted by probably Sam or IHCDA and say, hey, do you know what's going on with this one? Is that what would happen if there was one outstanding? Would I be notified again, or does my involvement kind of stop when I send it to fiscal?
Yeah, I think your involvement kind of stops when you send it to fiscal. I think it's possible we might reach out to you and see if you can talk with the vendor about it, since you're the one who sent the negative transmittal. But it's also possible that we, if we need to follow up on one with a vendor, we might just do that follow up. I think it's probably going to depend on what the exact situation is.
Right. Okay. And yeah, and if you have any other tips that you might know what they want tomorrow, if we could stay on afterwards, I would appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, I can, depending on what time we get done, I might have a few minutes to talk with you this afternoon. Otherwise, I don't know what time they're planning to start tomorrow, but I might have time in the morning. And yeah, Ingrid, I see where it says at the bottom or it says in the chat that the recording is stopped at 2:01, but it also looks on my end like it is still recording. So everything on my end shows that's still recording. So I'm going to trust that whatever is happening here at 2:01 p.m. that is still recording, and hope for the best. Right. Did we have any other? Okay, Lisa. I think EAP is one of those that sends a large chunk back that you have no idea where it goes. There are several outstanding negative claims in EAP Connect that I've sent to fiscal that have never been marked paid. Yeah, that sounds about right for them, honestly, Lisa. And I think it's just a matter of us needing to have a better internal procedure between claims and program staff. And I'd like to leave Henry out of it if possible, but possibly with Henry in order to be sure that we are getting this properly and that we are then able to close them out, because it certainly doesn't look good to have all those outstanding open negative claims there. Plus, I think it just gums up the works for everyone who's looking at their claims. And Ingrid adds, they also send back funds of accounts that were closed after EAP payments were made, along with returns of funds. Yeah. All right. Any other questions clarifying anything that we've gone over thus far?
Hey, I got one for you.
Yeah,
Sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
you're fine.
Zero claims. We didn't touch on that so far.
Okay. What's your
That
question
would
there?
be for applicants that are over the credit limit so that the utility company can mark them under protection. Um, so utility vendors, those transmittals still go to the utility vendor and they do send them back signed.
Okay.
But I was informed that those don't get sent through EAP Connect for payment because they don't have $1. So mine are just still sitting there.
Okay. I will try to find out if there's. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'll try to find out if there's any reason why they shouldn't be sent through. I mean, my preference would certainly be that you're able to clean out your queue. I don't know if having a $0 claim submission would hurt anything, or if it would confuse the claims team, but I will double check on that.
Please, because I do have a few that are just sitting there, and I did talk to Rowing about it. They told me I had to send it. I did have to hit the send button, send to fiscal, but then I can myself put it as marked for payment or marked as paid. But it was the send to fiscal part that I was told not to do.
Yeah, and so and actually Lisa Castle did just now put that in the chat also.
Okay.
And so I remember like when I was at SCAP, I remember that was my process whenever I did the Duke. Now it's called Share the Light, but it was called Helping Hand back then. That but the thing is, in order to mark it as paid, you do have to hit send to fiscal first. But the thing is, if you mark it paid immediately, it's never going to show up on the dashboard of our fiscal staff. You're going to grab that before they even get to it on their dashboard, so it's not even going to disrupt their.
Okay. So as long as I send it and mark it, I'm okay.
Yep. Yeah. It's if you hit send and then don't mark it paid right away, that's when it will show up on their dashboard, and I don't know what it does to their world, but.
Okay. I will try one. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Brad, I can try to see if I can squeeze your question real quick.
Okay, just to clarify on propane statements.
Yeah.
You know, last season I had an issue with our propane vendors trying to get me a statement within the 30-day timeline. So for example, if they apply in November, I was getting a statement that was back in July because they never send out monthly statements. So
Yeah,
are we okay still doing that moving forward, or?
Absolutely. If it's a vendor that doesn't do monthly statements, I mean, they probably have something from like whenever the last delivery was.
Correct.
And for propane vendors, we're fine with if they don't do monthly statements with doing, the most recent delivery statement, even if it's outside of, a time frame.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify again because I couldn't find it in the manual.
Yep.
So,
yeah,
okay.
You're good. Perfect. All right. All right. This is my favorite part of the day because I get to take a break from talking now. I am going to pass things off to our vendor analyst, Henry Lowry.
Good afternoon, everybody. It kind of stole my thunder because I was going to say this was everybody's favorite module. It's certainly mine. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Henry Lowry. I'm the vendor analyst here at ICDA. So I handle all the communications, trainings, things like that, problem solving with all our vendors. So got a small update for you guys today. Just kind of what we did a little bit over the last year, kind of what we're looking forward to the next year, and then be able to answer any questions you guys have. So, yep, right there. So, this is one of the assurances that we have to go over. So I was told that we have to go over. So for those of you that don't know, moratorium is a statewide utility shutoff moratorium, begins Monday, December 1st, 2025. This is where applicants are granted protection from utility disconnect by non-bulk fuel utilities. And that is upon successful submission of an application for energy assistance until their eligibility has been determined, yay or nay. So LSPs must notify utility vendors of a household's application if they're aware that a household is facing imminent disconnect and they are not able to immediately determine eligibility. And documentation of such notification in a client file will count as crisis mitigation. So notifying the vendor does not relieve the LSP of the responsibility to prioritize eligibility determination of households that are presenting with an energy crisis. And lastly, vendors who indicate that they do not intend to observe moratorium protection should be reminded of their legislative requirement to do so. And if they continue to indicate that they won't observe it, please escalate to IHCDA. I would actually say if any vendor implies that they're not going to extend that protection, I wouldn't even necessarily engage with it. I think potentially just forwarding it to me immediately or the vendor's inbox immediately is probably a better bet, and let me deal with it. So, and then save y'all some time. So that statewide utility shutoff moratorium ends at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, March 15th, 2026. Utility vendors may disconnect households regardless of their eligibility status, including households who were previously approved and who are now in arrears. Okay, so to get to my part of my presentation. So this year was my first full year of tracking issues and contacts that I had with vendors. So last year I did some partial tracking. I think I did something like 7 months of tracking. So this year we got a full year of it. So just some quick takeaways from that. So this year I had about 179 different vendors, interactions with about 179 different vendors, versus about 113 last year. And then this year we had about 897 contacts, issues. I don't even like to call them issues. That's just a general word. Some of these are just informational, maybe they're questions, maybe they're comments. So even when we're looking at this list of kind of the top 20 vendors here, CenterPoint's number one. Well, CenterPoint didn't have the most issues out of all these vendors. CenterPoint just happens to be very good at proactive communication. And so that's why they're always at the top of my list. So probably have the least amount of issues with CenterPoint. So, but I think the rest of that list is probably what y'all would expect. It's most of the kind of big six and then a few of the other larger utilities on there as well. So nothing too crazy. Our top issues for this year, number one, per usual, is the vendor portal, whether that's getting access, struggling to access, bugs, you name it. Yeah. Then, kind of an enormous amount of outreach for performance measures this year, a lot of back and forth, things like that. Contact updates, which is good. I think that's honestly probably great that we're seeing them kind of proactively reach out to update their contacts in EAP Connect and in our payment system, things like that. So, and then obviously payment issues, transmittal issues, and then issues with their MOA. So I don't think anything too crazy on that list. Yeah, pretty standard. We'll have questions, a space for questions at the end, but if you guys, I don't have a huge presentation day, so if you guys want, we can always like kind of come back to this and look through it. Okay, so The next few things we're going to talk about, a lot of this is what we did this current year, and then we're going to mirror it this. These are a lot of things that we did last year. We're going to mirror them this year. So we're going to do our yearly programmatic training in September. That's where I split all the utilities into metered and unmetered, and then I split the metered by municipalities and co-op and investor owned. So we do 3 different trainings that are all tailored. That's just my normal yearly. We're going to be doing an extra MOA training in July. So that's just going to be more of an informational, almost like a town hall meeting, showing them, explaining them a lot of the differences that are going to be coming out in the MOA, and then, answering questions, and then just really trying to get ahead of sending them out. So we'll be sending them out here in the next month, and we really want to have as much information around it as possible so that they are looking for it and that they're sending it back, so that we're not receiving them in November like the last time we did this. So we're going to be training and onboarding pilots in September. So right now that is for the new tech system. So that'll be about 35 different vendors. I believe it's 4 of the big 6. And then we're going to be doing some tech training and testing for the new EDI system. So that'll actually be a separate training as well. So along with that, this previous year, I'm going to continue. We're going to be doing targeted, basically what ends up being about monthly outreach. And that just covers different program updates, funding updates, common issues, anything that I kind of deem worthy. Those fall on about a monthly basis. I sent one out yesterday. And then periodic town halls. So every once in a while, I think that maybe there's an issue that we really need to discuss. So I think this year we did one around the funding issues that we were having. So just really as a way of, if people are curious, they can pop in, they can kind of hear me talk about a big issue like the funding issues that were going on, and then they can ask questions and we can, have a good conversation. So those have been fairly successful. So then on top of that, we have monthly meetings with the big 6 vendors. Those tend to be like general updates, kind of nitty gritty numbers. And then one of the kind of exciting things that they've been working on over the past year and a half-ish is a generalized marketing push. So they're trying to do large marketing pushes across their social media that is in lockstep with each other. So yeah. And then last year we did a big overhaul and update of our vendor guide and really modernized it and brought it up to speed. We'll be doing that kind of again this summer to bring it in line with some of the changes that are coming through in our MOA. So yeah, just continue to enhance our training. Okay. So like I said, this is an MOA year. So we got some updates for it. So it's again going to be good for 2 years. They're going to be going out to vendors in July. That's going to be over Adobe Sign again. So 2 years ago when we did this, for probably a first couple months of the year, we were sending about a weekly approved list of vendors. I'm hoping that we can continue doing that again. And then hopefully by getting ahead of this a little bit, we can back that date out a little bit by upping the amount of communication, by really being aggressive. I'm hoping we can have the vast majority of our MOAs in before September. So by the time the season kicks off, hopefully it'll just be cleaning up some smaller ones. So, okay. So some big changes in the MOA. We're now asking that vendors share their access to client billing portals. A lot of vendors were already doing this. We just wanted to codify it in our MOA. We changed the language around that 14-day shutoff suspension that is outside of moratorium timeframe, and just to clarify and clean it up. And that's basically, that policy is where it allows LSPs time to not determine full eligibility, but to mitigate crisis. So yeah, we changed some of the language to metered versus unmetered utilities rather than regulated versus unregulated, just to clarify. And this potential change, we actually got approval for while Tom was talking about it earlier, and that is just in the moment he was talking about it, which is kind of funny, but basically what we're doing is we put a clause in there that says an acceptance of an EAP benefit maintains or reestablishes service for 30 days. And if you're a deliverable fuel, it guarantees a delivery. So no longer going to be requiring client contributions. So this will be fun to train on. So there's some other odds and ends in this MOA that we're changing. We're collecting EINs. We completely changed around the contact sheet to make it clear and to just get a better handle on the amount of contacts that we do need and having backup contacts. And then we're also collecting which counties vendors operate in rather than asking them which LSPs they work with. Previously, we would ask them to list the LSPs they were working with, and that information was always wrong, or they just left it blank. So pretty useless. This will give us a little better, more accurate way of making sure that you guys, when you're doing transmittals or doing that kind of work, have, you know, a more updated list. So I think we got pretty good at that this year, but okay. Just some quick vendor etiquette that I ask for. So just share respect, you know, check your email etiquette, you know, no caps lock, just be professional. Remember, you know, it is the private sector, but they are our partners in this program. And, you know, if things are escalating, I just asked, you know, there's no reason to engage with it. I would just say just route any issues you have to the vendor inbox. I think you guys got pretty good at that. Just looping me into general issues that you're having. I would just say continue to do that. I know vendors are difficult to work with sometimes. So I just say save yourself the time, save yourself the heartache, and then just go ahead and just get it over to me. Let me handle it. So, yeah. And yeah, so looking forward to this year, just a couple of best practices. So I would say continue encouraging usage of the vendor portal. This is only going to benefit your time, their time. Again, I think you guys are pretty good at that. And then I think it's probably safe to expect some confusion and question from our pilot utilities about, you know, maybe which system they should be in. The answer is both. But, you know, so expect that, show some patience, and then just, again, continue routing any major issues you have to me or the vendor inbox. So, yeah, I believe that's it. Yeah. Quick little presentation there. So, okay. What kind of questions do y'all have? So I see one in the chat already. From Chris Henry, is it possible to get a list of those vendors that attend your training this year? I found that some vendors did not attend last year. Is it mandatory? Good question. Yeah, I mean, there's no way for me to force people to attend my training. I've just tried to get better at marketing them and just upping my communication so that they understand that this is important, that this is something they should attend. I think having a list of that might be good. Yeah, we could definitely talk about that and then what we would use that information for. So, yeah. Ingrid.
So when you do the vendor training, do you also train them on how to use the portal?
So we have done, I think, 2 or 3 vendor portal trainings. They are recorded, they're online. I do share that out. Yes.
Okay, so do you have one of the vendors help point out what the advantages are of using that? Because, you know, I think so often folks are afraid of change. And if somebody who's actually, you know, and they're going to say, well, of course, Henry says it's great, you know, it's their program. But if a vendor would say, okay, this is what I have found to be beneficial, you know, they may be more willing to hear that. Also, we have some vendors who say they accept or they work through the portal and then I never get anything back and I still have to send them the transmittal because I just don't do anything with the portal. And I can't think off the top of my head right now who that was. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say, like, if you have a situation like that where it's been, I believe the limit is 5 days where they haven't, it's probably better to shoot them an email and just CC me on it. Because if I don't know that they're I mean, it's a rule that they're checking this and that they're sending these back within 5 business days. So if that's not occurring and I don't know about it, I can't help correct it. So I would just say just keep looping me in, and then that way you're not doubling down on the work you're doing. It could be a login issue. It could be that they've changed contacts and that person has not been put in the portal yet. It could be many different things, but yeah, I certainly don't want you guys doubling your workload on a transmittal just to, you know, appease a vendor who's not doing what they're supposed to be doing.
We do a lot of that, so it's okay.
Well, we'll try. Yeah. In the chat, Lisa says, can you let us know when they are so we can talk to our contact? Oh, when trainings are so we can talk to our contacts at the vendors. Yeah, I can try and do that. Right. We don't have hard dates for the trainings yet. We're kind of waiting on that MOA to be finalized, which happened today. So I should have those dates soon. And yeah, if I can get those dates in your guys' hands, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that marketing for me. So, and then Laura Collins asked, does Centerpoint have any plans to use the vendor portal? Laura, my understanding was Centerpoint is in the vendor portal, but we can take this conversation offline and double check and see what the issues are for sure. So, yeah, and then make sure, yeah, just so it's better for next year. I think this name is wrong. I think this is Rosa.
Yep, that's me. On your slide 264, I believe, you have a 14-day shut off something and then the possible change of 30 days. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah. So we're going to probably have, I should have said this during this, we're going to probably have some more direction around this spread out. I think what we've been waiting on is whether this approval was going to go through first from our leadership. And now that it has, I don't think that we have like the proper directions for it just yet. So if you can have some patience, we'll probably roll some of that out here in the next month so that you guys have a good understanding of what that policy means. Because the 14-day policy was a bit of a bear this past year, so it caused a lot of confusion. So we don't want that this year. So
Okay, thank you.
okay, yeah, thank you. And other questions we have.
All right. Looks like there are no other questions.
Yeah. Well, just real quick, if there's no
Yeah.
other questions, I just want to thank you all for what you do every year. I've kind of got to work with you guys a little bit more every year, a little bit more. And yeah, I think I really respect what you guys do, and I recognize working with vendors is tough sometimes. So I understand and I hear you, I see your patience and I applaud you, and looking forward to another year to go. So thank you all.
Perfect. Thank you, Henry. So at this point, we have program integrity, fraud, waste, and abuse, and investigations left. We are going to take a break here. We'll come back together around 2:45 or so, and then we will be in the home stretch. So everyone get up, get some air, stretch your legs, get some water, and see you back here around 2:45. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. We are in the home stretch now. This is going to be our final section of the training. I know there's been some weirdness with the recording in the chat. Just to be safe, we may have possibly lost part of it. I don't know. It shows it's recording on my end. But I know there is some weirdness going on with it. So I'm going to, just to be safe, stop the recording. And then I am going to restart the recording so that hopefully